Welcome back to Art Inbound. I'm here today with Barbara Kyle, and Barbara Kyle is both an actor and a fiction writer, and she happens to live in Guelph. So, Barbara, welcome.
Thank you, Joanne. Nice to be with you.
After graduating from the National Theatre School in Montreal, you went on to have a pretty successful career on the stage and in film across Canada. Can you tell us some of the roles that you performed during this part of your career?
Yes, well, on stage, I was trained classically at the National Theatre School in Montreal. So on stage, I did a lot of classical theater, Shakespeare and Shaw and Moliere. Um, in Toronto, the Toronto Bayview Playhouse, and across theaters across Canada. And one of the most beautiful was in Edmonton, the Citadel Theatre in Edmonton. And
Nice.
then on TV, I did a lot of I starred in a soap opera for a few years, which was really a pleasure. It was called High Hopes. And also I had a continuing role in a series called The Campbells, which was a kind of a Canadian Little House on the Prairies. So I played a kind of a feisty innkeeper who never quite got the heart, who never quite won the heart of the dishy Dr. Campbell.
So you had a 20-year career in acting, Barbara, and then you did decide to make the transition into being a writer of historical fiction,
Mhm.
mysteries, and thrillers. Can you tell us how you found your artistic voice? Was it easy to make the transition from the stage into writing?
Well, it was both easy and terrifying. Let me explain that. I made a conscious decision to just switch careers, mostly because when I had hit the age of 40, the roles start to drop off for women. And so I just decided to literally switch to writing. But it was terrifying because I really didn't know what I was doing. And I had to learn like anybody does. And I was thinking, if I'm being an actor had been my identity. And if I'm not an actor anymore, what am I? I'm not a writer yet. So the scariest day was when my dues came due for the Actors Union, and I decided to just not continue. But in any case, I started by being mentored by a marvelous writer called Marion Fowler. She was a writer in residence at the Shelburne Library, where my husband and I used to live near Shelburne at that time. And she helped me with a short story that I was writing, and I rewrote it and rewrote it and rewrote it. It was pretty bad at the beginning, but I learned quickly, and I finally made that a very good story, and it won an award. And I went on at that point to think, I don't want to write anything short. I want to write something big. So I started to write my first historical novel set in Tudor England at the time of King Henry VIII. And it took me 3 years to write that book because I really was learning as I went. But it ended up being a good book, and it attracted a top New York agent, Al Zuckerman, at Writers House in New York. And he sold that book within about a month to Penguin. So I went on from there. It became a series of 7 novels in that series called the Thornley Saga.
What was the name of the first book, Barbara?
The first one is called The Queen's Lady. It's about Sir Thomas More, his ward. She's the heroine of the story. That's the book, yes.
Here it is.
Yes, good. Sir Thomas More, who was the chancellor to King Henry VIII, actually had a couple of wards, and I just created another one, a fictional ward for him. And she grows up adoring him because he educated her from being a little heathen. And then she comes into great conflict with him over the whole catastrophe of Henry VIII breaking from the Catholic Church. So she comes into contact with Sir Thomas More. He famously went to the scaffold and died rather than submit to Henry's tyranny. So the heroine that I created, her name is Honor Lark. She goes through hell with him and then comes out the other side having learned a great deal. So she became the focal point of the whole series, and the series takes this middle-class family through 3 different generations and 3 different Tudor reigns. So that's the Thornley Saga.
So actually, you sold over 500,000 books, and
Yeah,
I'm not sure that many Guelph viewers would know about that. So I'm really happy that you're able to share that information with us.
yeah.
your husband coined the fact that living in Guelph is like living in Camelot. Can you tell us why?
Oh, well, we moved to Camelot. We moved to Guelph about 7 years ago, and we just loved the city instantly for its, for its lively art scenes, for the liveliness of the university kids, and the beautiful riverside walks. And so, yeah, um, we just decided it was Camelot. We love it here. Yeah, and in fact, the novel I'm writing now is a mystery, and it's set in a town, a city exactly like Guelph.
Awesome. We will look forward to that, Barbara. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us today. It was great. Go to the public library, I guess, Guelph. Barbara's books are there, and it's perfect reading weather for digging into all 7 books in your series. So thank you, Barbara, and hope to talk to you again.
Thank you, Joanna. It was a pleasure.